Today on Steelers Talk, we're going to be discussing the best options still available on the 2024 NFL free agency market for GM Omar and head coach Mike Tomlin to consider adding to this roster to make it better heading into the 2024 season and make this team the best it can possibly be heading into this crucial season with Russell Wilson on a one-year contract. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already, because if Omar Khan makes a big move, whether that's a wide receiver trade, whether that be signing somebody in free agency, one of the guys we talk about on today's show, we're going to be going live, or at the very least, we're going to be getting you guys a video breaking news coverage for the Pittsburgh Steelers right here on Steelers Talk. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you click that subscribe button. Join the over 51,000 Yinzers already subscribed to Steelers Talk. So first, let's get into the wide receivers, okay? Because I think this is the one that we all know the Steelers need to address here. And definitely the position that Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin have been searching around for, trying to find a nice complement to George Pickens on the outside here in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, now led by Arthur Smith, the new offensive coordinator, and of course quarterback now by Russell Wilson, who is going into a year on a one-year contract. So you did get Roman Wilson in the draft. I do think he's probably the second best receiver in this room right now. Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin III, Quez Watkins, those guys are more deep threat type players, but I think that they might be looking more for a true number two outside wide receiver to pair with George Pickens. That is, unless they truly see Roman Wilson as a replacement for Deontay Johnson. We know Deontay wasn't the biggest guy in the world, neither is Roman Wilson. Now, Wilson played mostly in the slot there at Michigan. Most people think that he's a slot-only type of guy, but we have heard offensive coordinator Arthur Smith say that they view him as somebody with inside-outside versatility, so it's possible here that they view him as an outside receiver, and if that's the case, that definitely opens up more possibilities for the Steelers on the free agent market. You look at this here, Tyler Boyd, I think is probably more of like a true slot type of guy. If you're going to bring in Tyler, I think that it's going to have to be more of a true slot role, and you'd be playing Roman Wilson on the outside at the Z wide receiver position. Michael Thomas is another guy that's still on the free agency market. Hunter Renfrow, Zay Jones is a popular one because he's big, he's a good run blocker, and I guess he would be the number two wide receiver option on the outside. Corey Davis has an Arthur Smith connection all the way going back to his time there with the Tennessee Titans. Julio Jones, Sterling Shepard is another interesting slot option, but he can never stay healthy. And then McCole Hardman would add yet another deep threat to the Steelers offense if they went that route. For me personally, guys, my top pick from this list, and it's kind of slim pickings at this point in the NFL offseason when it comes to wide receivers on the free agency market. My top choice when it comes to free agents is Michael Thomas. Now, yes, he's had a bunch of injuries. Yes, he is getting older. He's 31 years old. But you look at the size here, man. 212 pounds at 6'3". He's a really good run blocker, really good in that short to intermediate route running. So if you want somebody to replace Deontay Johnson in that role in this offense, and you want somebody that's 212 pounds doing it, Michael Thomas is probably going to be your guy, but he has not started more than 7 games in a NFL season since 2019, pre-COVID, folks, okay? So this is somebody that just hasn't really had the best luck when it comes to his health. And last season, not the best production overall, just 1 touchdown on 39 catches, 10 games played, only 7 starts, so he wasn't even a true starter for the New Orleans Saints last year. Then 2022 only played in 3 games, but he did have 3 touchdowns, actually played pretty darn well in those 3 games that he played. And, we just haven't really seen the same kind of production that we saw from him in the late 2010s, where in 2019 he was absolutely phenomenal. But listen, man, it's definitely the case that Michael Thomas is on the market still for a reason. He's not the true number one type guy that he used to be. But, man, I really like the size. I really like the ability to get open in the short to intermediate ranges, and he'd be a red zone threat. And that's something that the Steelers offense really doesn't truly have outside of George Pickens right now. So if you want to add a true number 2 wide receiver that has the size to play in this offense, that fits a role that is much needed in this offense, I think Michael Thomas is probably the best available option for the Steelers on the free agency market. However, I would rather go out and trade for a wide receiver, whether that be Deebo Samuel, whether that be DK Metcalf, whether that be somebody else. I think that there's more value in going out and maybe trading a 3rd-round pick next year for one of those guys as opposed to maybe spending $7 or $8 million on a wide receiver in free agency. Now, if you could pick a wide receiver to sign on the free agency market right now, which one would it be? Type MT for Michael Thomas, type TB for Tyler Boyd, type ZJ for Zay Jones, or type O for other, and make sure you let me know which wide receiver you would rather sign for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know which receiver you would sign. And along with wide receiver, guys, I would also like to add another cornerback to the room because the way that it's currently constructed, I think that the depth is certainly not there at the cornerback position. And I look at what I would expect from the Steelers secondary right now. Joey Porter Jr. is locked in at number one corner. Dante Jackson, could he move to the slot? Do they see him more of an outside guy? And then the way that it's currently constructed, guys, unless Corey Trice Jr. has just like a phenomenal camp or something, I see Deshaun Elliott, who has a ton of experience there in the slot playing there. It'll either be him or Minkah Fitzpatrick. Actually moving Minkah to the slot to play kind of like a nickel star role would be very interesting to me. You could put Deshaun at strong safety, and then DeMonte KZ is going to be your other safety there. So listen, man, it's going to be a big question mark for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into this season. Who's going to play slot cornerback? Because last year, it was Chandon Sullivan and Patrick Peterson played there a little bit. Both of those guys are not on the roster right now. So these are the five guys I think could potentially be your starting slot cornerback with the guys currently on the roster. Dante Jackson certainly has the skill set to play in there, even though he's played pretty much exclusively outside throughout his career. Deshaun Elliott has been very versatile throughout his career. He's played strong safety, free safety, and slot cornerback. Minkah Fitzpatrick as kind of like that roaming nickel star safety type player in the middle of the defense in the slot would be very interesting to me. And then Beanie Bishop Jr. and Josiah Scott are two kind of slept-on names that I think could, with a really good offseason program, really assert themselves as contributors on the Steelers' defense if they do so. But, if none of those guys really surface, there are some options on the cornerback market here. If you want to go out and get an outside corner, Stephon Gilmore, Xavier Howard, and Dory Jackson are excellent options at this point in free agency. Cam Sutton is somebody that the Steelers have actually met with. Okay, so that's something that could absolutely happen. Can play both outside and on the inside in the slot. Patrick Peterson, it's been rumored that the Steelers might consider bringing him back after the NFL draft. We still haven't seen that surface. Chandon Sullivan, of course, played as a starter in this defense just last year. J.C. Jackson has definitely not played well the last several seasons, I should say. But he's certainly someone that fits the mold of the Steelers' corner. And then Akella Witherspoon actually had a pretty decent season last year for the Los Angeles Rams, still available on the free agency market. Now, coming up here, I'm going to tell you my top pick at the cornerback position. I'm going to tell you which corner I would like to see the Steelers sign in free agency. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando. A big shout out to Mando Whole Body Deodorant for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. And you can get $5 off a starter pack today when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Ditch the soap and step up to the plate with Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. Developed by a doctor, this game-changing formula is safe for your entire body and knocks out odor like a champ. Mando is made with mandelic acid, which picks off odor at the source, keeping you fresh for up to 72 hours. Mando is available in solid sticks, invisible cream, body wash, cleaning bars, and deodorant wipes for on-the-go use. Don't let foul balls ruin your game. Switch to Mando and keep your body odor in fair territory by taking advantage of their special offer for new customers of $5 off their best-selling starter pack when you go to shopmando.com and use code CHAT. Guys, I seriously recommend the body wash, the bourbon leather body wash that Mando has that you can choose as one of your 2 free items in the starter pack. It smells absolutely fantastic. It smells sweet. It smells masculine. It smells absolutely fantastic, and it keeps you fresh for up to 72 hours. I've got a whole bottle of this stuff back at my apartment here in Dallas, Texas. I use it every single day in the morning, and you will love it too. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and then 2 free products of your choice. So you can get the body wash, and you can also get the deodorant wipes, which have excellent reviews as well. Plus, you get free shipping, so there's no reason not to get this starter pack right now. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack today. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. A big thank you to Mando Whole Body Deodorant for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So my top pick at the cornerback position on the free agency market for your Pittsburgh Steelers is Stephon Gilmore, because he would be just an awesome addition to this secondary and would make this Steelers defense even more dangerous. You take a look at the numbers from him over the last several seasons. He's been fantastic, guys. I know he's getting older and people want to say he's washed. He is not. He was fantastic in man coverage last year for the Dallas Cowboys. He absolutely shut down A.J. Brown in the final weeks of the 2023 season last year. So listen, man, he lost a little bit of steam towards the end of the year, but he was fantastic as a one of those cornerback options. Of course, Trayvon Diggs had that big ACL injury for the Cowboys. He was an every down starter for them and still put up a PFF grade of 74.4. And if you look at the trends for his Pro Football Focus grading throughout his career, yes, he's not quite on the level as like the 2018-2019 version of Stephon Gilmore, but these last three seasons with the Cowboys, the Colts, and the Panthers respectively on one-year contracts, it's been better than most of his NFL career, much better than 2020, that COVID year, which made the Patriots get rid of him. I think that Stephon Gilmore would be an excellent option for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the outside. Now, I'm also open to Cam Sutton. Okay, like if he doesn't get suspended by the NFL and like all the investigation stuff kind of pans out for him, yeah, I would consider bringing him in, especially if it's a super team-friendly deal, $2-3 million, because this is somebody that can play on the outside. He can play in the slot. He was the number one graded corner on the Steelers defense just 2 years ago. He knows the defense well. He knows the personnel and the verbiage and all that. It wouldn't be much of a transition for Sutton to sign with the Steelers and be an impact right away. So I definitely think Sutton, especially as the Steelers have met with him, is a significant possibility at this point in time. So who's your pick? Let me know down there in the comment section. Which corner should the Pittsburgh Steelers add to the roster this offseason? Can't wait to hear your ideas down there in the comment section. So now how about we get a fourth edge rusher here, right? Because you have TJ Watt, you have Alex Highsmith, and you have Nick Herbig. And those three are really, really good. But, you know, what if one of those guys gets hurt? You need to get a fourth edge rusher, in my opinion. David Perales and all these different guys that they have on the roster right now, I don't really trust as a fourth option. So there's still some pretty darn good edge rushers still on the market. Ogba, Ngakoue, Carl Lawson is an interesting one. Jerry Hughes, Bud Dupree. Of course, the Steelers were talking with Dupree last offseason, couldn't get a deal done. Watch out for him as a potential name. Tyus Bowser, former Raven. Could he want to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers and play his former team twice a year? I wouldn't be opposed to that. Marcus Golden and then Shaq Lawson are other good possibilities. And honestly, guys, my top pick is I want to bring back Marcus Golden. He had a really good season last year, arguably the best season of his NFL career last year, putting up a Pro Football Focus grade of 86.5. And he was able to hold off Nick Herbig as the number 3 edge rusher for the entirety of the season. Now, if he comes back to Pittsburgh, he's probably going to have to take that number 4 spot instead of that number 3 spot that he assumed last year. So he'd be moving down the totem pole a little bit. But hey, nobody signed him to this point. Nobody really sees him as a starter or even as a third edge rusher to this point. So listen, man, if I'm Marcus, I'm going back to the place where I had so much success last year. And I think that if TJ or Alex Highsmith gets hurt, you can trust Marcus Golden to come in and start for them. Now, before I go here, I think safety is kind of a luxury position for the Pittsburgh Steelers because you do have 3 good safeties, right? You have Minka, you have DeMonte KZ, and then you have Deshaun Elliott. And all 3 of those guys are definitely serviceable. But let's say they want to put Minka in the slot, or let's say they want to put Deshaun in the slot. Okay, well, who's going to be the third safety in the 3 safety package then, right? So, like, Justin Simmons is a name that has been thrown around out there, and that's definitely an interesting possibility to me. There's also Eddie Jackson, Marcus May, Micah Hyde, Quandre Diggs. Jamal Adams is somebody that, I think Mike Tomlin would freaking love, even though I think he stinks. J-Ron Kearse is another really interesting name. Terrell Edmonds could bring him back. And then you get Adrian Amos and John Johnson III. All these guys are former starters in the National Football League here. And, when it comes to Justin Simmons, with the price tag that's going to be on potentially signing him, it's going to be like $9, $10, maybe even more than that, $1 million per season. I think the only way that you go out and do that is if you plan on putting Minkah Fitzpatrick in the slot to be kind of like a roaming nickel star defender, in this kind of Mike Tomlin crazy defense that they love to run with all the disguises that he likes to do. Having Minkah just be an instinctual player in the slot, read the eyes of the quarterback and just go F stuff up like he does. And, Justin Simmons would allow you to do that. Devontae KZ would be a really good backup free safety for you. Deshaun Elliott could play a true box role, which I think he could absolutely play to perfection. And you still have Joey Porter Jr. and Dante Jackson on the outside. And obviously the Steelers like Dante Jackson, by the way, because they traded Deontay Johnson for him pretty much straight up. So obviously they love what Dante Jackson brings to the table. So I really don't see the Steelers replacing him. I do expect Jackson to have a starting role on this defense week 1 of the 2024 season. But let's say you don't want to go out and get the big name in Justin Simmons, and you'd rather just get like a third safety to put in your 3 safety packages when you need to go to them. Jaron Kearse has been one of the best kind of linebacker safety hybrids in the National Football League for a very long time now, and he is still available. Plus Terrell Edmunds, still available on the free agency market, would be dirt cheap. He's played in this defense before. He's played in this specific role before and has played it pretty darn well. So I think there's definitely a lot of options for the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to which safety or if they even bring in a safety at all. So let me know down there in the comment section, which top free agent, can be any position you want, do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to sign after the 2024 NFL Draft? Let me know down there in the comment section, which position, which player. Let me know down there in the comment section. All right, so if you want more content from me on Twitter or Instagram, on social media here, you can go to @Jack_Sperry on X, and then I'm @sparedog.football on Instagram. I post additional Steelers content on there every single day. I post channel updates on there, all this great stuff, guys. So if you want more content from me, you can find it right here. And make sure you click that subscribe button right now to never miss any of our coverage for free here on YouTube, right here on Steelers Talk.